Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth webinar of a series of webinars conducted by TCS Online in lieu of the upcoming operational case study examinations happening in May and August 2022. So if you are yet to check out our the previous three webinars, I would suggest you do that. I've recorded these webinars and I've uploaded them as part of paid content as well as free content. So you can access our website and check out the free content. Under the videos, you'd see the recorded versions of the three previous webinars. And this webinar, the recorded version of this webinar will be uploaded onto the free content as well as paid content tabs on our website. So having said that, let's look at the session outcomes. The name of the webinar is Study Technique. So I'm highlighting what you need to do when it comes to studying for the OCS exam, especially since there's only 2 weeks for you to prepare. So things you need to pull your socks up at the moment, and things need to get serious. So I've developed a study plan highlighting what you need to do in the coming 2 weeks. And as the second part of this session, I'll be talking about how you can develop your confidence, because my personal experience as well as throughout my career as a CIMA tutor for the past 10 years, what I've figured out is, you need to be confident as a student, or else you end up failing the exam. Okay, I've seen so many students who had done their homework properly, who had done mock exams, who have prepared themselves extremely well. When they go to the exam, because of a certain technical issue which they experience, or because of a certain subtask which is extremely hard, they panic, and this panic leads to students feeling not too confident about themselves, and they end up screwing up the entire examination. So rather than doing that, you need to be confident about what you do. So I'll be highlighting how you can achieve this type of confidence. And at the very end, I'm conducting a Q&A session, and in this Q&A session, you can raise any of your concerns pertaining to the OCS examination. You can ask me questions from the pre-scene, or if you need some technical assistance when it comes to planning answers or writing answers, you can ask any type of question you want. Okay, so let's move on to the first part. So I'm gonna highlight what you need to do with regards to study planning. So I've prepared a to-do list. So this, you need to achieve all these areas in the coming 2 weeks. Okay, so first things first, you need to read the annotated pre-scene properly. Okay, so if you had not purchased any of our products, then you won't have the annotated pre-scene with you, but that's totally fine. You can kickstart your studies by looking at the pre-scene provided by the examiner. Okay, so you have to read through the annotated pre-scene. Then you need to watch 4 pre-scene analysis videos. So these videos come with our paid content. So these videos include an introduction into the pre-scene, an industry analysis, company operations, and financial analysis. And on top of that, after you are done with the pre-scene analysis videos, I want you guys to watch the 4 webinar recordings, because in these 4 webinars, I've highlighted all the technicalities which you need to pass the OCS examination. So it's of utmost importance that you watch these 4 webinars. If you had not been able to attend them, as I highlighted earlier, I've uploaded the recorded versions onto the website, so please go through them. Then you need to refer to the slides, the industry analysis slides, financial analysis slides, top 10 issues, as well as if you had purchased a value pack, you would have access to theory recaps pertaining to E1, F1, and P1 related areas. And at the very end, after you had done all these things, after you had gone through all this content, I want you to practice 5 exam standard mock exams. Then after just practicing the 5 exam standard mock exams won't help you. After practicing each mock, I want you to develop answer plans based on suggested answers of each mock. So why am I asking you to come up with answer plans based on the suggested answer? Because now closer to the exam, you won't have time to go through a 3,000 or a 3,500 worded document, and you would find it extremely hard to pick information from a 3,000 or 3,500 worded document. Okay, so rather than going through paragraphs and paragraphs of answers, I would actually want you to come up with answer plans, or or something like an answer structure, which is a summary of the entire answer provided in one single mock. So once you have the summaries, you would have 5 summaries, one each for each mock which you are attempting. So these 5 short notes, or the answer plans, or the answer structures, will be extremely beneficial closer to the exam, because when you are going through the answers, rather than having to go through paragraphs or paragraphs of answers, you have a short note of it. Okay, and this short note is extremely beneficial if you had purchased the essential pack, or if you are preparing on your own, if you are not seeking personalized feedback. Okay, so if you are preparing on your own, what you need to do is, after attempting the mock exam, I suggested in one of my previous webinars, I said you need to allocate 3 hours of your time and attempt a single mock. So after attempting the mock, if you have not sought personalized feedback, then you need to mark your mock or mark your answer on your own. So when marking your answer, it's easier. Your life becomes easier when you have an answer plan. So go through the suggested answer, develop an answer plan, then you'd have the structure with you. Once you have the structure, when you have the structure with you, then it's extremely easy for you to figure out whether you had covered all the points which appear in the answer plan, which points were missing, okay, which areas you need to improve upon, and based on that you can stipulate how many marks you have actually achieved compared to how much you should have gained. Okay, so it's of utmost importance. Just practicing 5 exam standard mocks won't help you. You need to develop answer plans based on suggested answer of each mock. So ideally you should have 5 different answer plans, or 5 different answer structures or short notes after you are done with all 5 mock exams. Okay, so these are the things which you need to do. You can't skip any of these areas. You need to adhere to this plan which I'm providing. Okay, and let me highlight the important dates. You need to know that the exam entry is closing on the 26th of April, in another 2 days time. Today is the 24th, so Monday, or sorry, by Tuesday you need to book your exam if you're planning to do your attempt the examination which is happening in May. If you are not too comfortable with doing the exam in May, then you need not be too concerned about this. And the exam dates pertaining to the sitting in May are 11th, 12th and 13th of May. Okay, so out of these 3 days, you can book your exam on any available time slot. Then the most important part of today's session is highlighting a study plan. So I've highlighted the type of activities you need to achieve. I've provided a time allocation in hours, as well as I've provided deadlines. So, when going through the study plan, there is no hard and fast rule saying that you need to stick to this. But if you can stick to this, your deadlines could be, a bit 1 or 2 days here and there, but that's totally fine. You can use this as a benchmark when planning your studies for the upcoming 2 weeks. Okay, so I've mentioned the content which you need to cover as part of your study plan. So you need to go through the annotated pre-scene. So I've allocated 4 hours for it. So I'm suggesting that you do it tomorrow itself, because there's only 2 weeks until the exam. So I've mentioned 25th of April as the day which you are supposed to spend on the annotated pre-scene. Although I've allocated 4 hours for this, students might not need 4 hours. You can actually, if you are a fast reader, if you had already gone through the pre-scene, annotated pre-scene, then you can do this in 2 hours. Okay. And then you need to move into the videos. So go through the 4 pre-scene analysis videos. So the total time allocation I've put in is 6 hours. So per video, I've allocated something like 1.5 hours. So I've allocated 2 days, 3 hours each, the 26th and 27th of April, because I know these are weekdays, and almost all of us are busy on weekdays, so you won't have enough time to spend on it. So I've allocated 3 hours each for you to go through these 4 videos. Then you need to go through the recorded sessions, recorded versions of the 4 webinars. Okay. For that as well, I've allocated 2 days, 28th and 29th of April. So the combined time allocation is 6 hours. Then you are supposed to go through the additional material, which will enable you to better understand the pre-scene as well as its content. So you can just take 1 hour to go through the industry analysis slides, 1 hour to go through the financial analysis slides, top 10 issues, again, hour and hour. And when it comes to theory recaps, I've allocated 3 hours each. Okay, so in total, I've allocated 9 hours. So this is the 30th of April falls on a weekend. So since this is I'm not too sure whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, let's assume that it's a Saturday. So since most of you are not working on Saturdays, you can, I hope you can allocate enough time and do all these things. If you had gone through theory recaps already, you need not spend this amount of time. I've allocated 9 hours thinking that you are doing it for the first time, or you are going through the theory recaps after a long time. Okay, if you had already done this, or if you are really conversant with the syllabus content, then you need not allocate this amount of time. You can get these things, the theory recaps, done in 3 hours, if I'm being honest, but I've allocated 9 hours. Okay, then the most important part, so after going through all these additional content, the most important part is attempting mock exams. Okay, so I've allocated 3 hours each for you to attempt mock exams and develop answer plans. So previously, about 5 minutes back, I highlighted that attempting mock exams itself is not enough. You need to go through the answer, or you need to develop an answer plan based on the suggested answer. So I've allocated timings for them as well. So attempting the first mock, it would take you 3 hours, because you need to get accustomed to exam conditions. So as I highlighted in the previous webinars, you are supposed to sit in one place, isolate yourself, find a calm and peaceful surrounding, and attempt a mock exam 3 hours at a stretch, or else you'd find it extremely hard to focus for 3 hours at a stretch at the exam. So before the exam, it's better to practice it on your own. It's better to get yourself accustomed to real exam conditions, so that you would feel comfortable at the real exam. So attempting the first mock would take you 3 hours. So I've mentioned the 1st of May, which is a Sunday. Then answer planning for mock 1. I said based on the suggested answer, you are supposed to come up with answer plans. For that, I've allocated 3 hours. Both these activities can be carried out on the same day, because Sunday is not a work day. So I hope you'd have enough time. You'd have 6 hours. You'd have enough time to spend 6 hours of your time to spend on studies, because there's only 2 weeks to the exam. So it's high time you allocate your weekends fully for studies. Okay, and mock 2 you can start attempting on the 3rd of May. I've kept Monday out of your study plan because Mondays are extremely hectic most of the time. So Tuesday, the 3rd of May, you can allocate 3 hours of your time to attempt mock 2. And the next day, you can spend 3 hours of your time to come up with the answer plan. So likewise, except weekends, on weekdays, I've come up with a study plan where each day, every other day, you attempt a mock, and every other day you end up coming up with an answer plan. So please try to stick to this. So once you have done all these things, at the very end, I've said refer to answer plans of 5 mocks. So I said, if you develop answer plans based on the 5 suggested answers, then you need to have 5 answer plans in your hand by the end of the 8th May. Okay, so on the 9th May, I want you guys to just go through the answer plans. You're not supposed to do anything else. By this time, you know your stuff. So because of that, just go through the answer plans, and I've allocated 7.5 hours for this activity. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a weekend again. So allocating 7.5 hours should not be too problematic. And if you're doing the exam on the 11th, a day before the exam, I want you to relax. Okay, so you might think that I'm extremely stupid to say something like this, because closer to the exam, we end up panicking and we run out of time and whatnot. So that's exactly why I want you to stick to the study plan, because if you stick to these deadlines, you won't panic, you won't run out of time. I want you guys to stop all your studies a day before your exam. Why? Because it's better to go to the exam with an open mind. It is better to face the exam with a higher level of positivity. So what I've seen in most students is, although I ask them to relax, they don't do that. They try to attempt mocks or go through suggested answers or reread the pre-scene, go through additional content and whatnot. And on the day of the exam, they are exhausted because of information overload. So I want you to avoid that, because the examiner is trying to replicate a real life work environment. The examiner wants you to play the role of a finance officer. So as a finance officer, you are reporting to your finance manager. So in a real life corporate environment, your finance manager won't like it when you are exhausted, when you are under stress, because when you are exhausted or when you are under stress, you can't give your best at your workplace. So the same scenario applies to your examination, especially because the examiner is trying to replicate a real life work environment. So it's better to relax, go to the exam with an open mind. So that's exactly why I'm saying a day prior to the exam, you need to stop all your studies, do nothing but relax. Okay, and the exam dates are from the 11th to the 13th of May. So I've prepared this plan for a typical individual who's doing the exam on the 11th. If you had booked your exam for the 13th, then you have 2 more additional days, so you can shift between days rather than sticking to this study plan strictly. Okay, so this is changeable. The hours which I've mentioned, the time allocations could be lesser than what I've stipulated, especially with regards to the additional content. However, I've considered a student who is doing everything for the first time. That's why I've come up with these time allocations. Any questions or any suggestions about the study plan, guys? Did you guys understand what I highlighted, or do you want to add something to the study plan? Any questions with regards to the study plan? If you have any questions, you can type them on the chat section or switch on your mics and talk as well.
Hello.
Hi, yes.
Hi, I purchased the value pack.
Yes.
Right. You have 4 pre-scene analyst videos.
Yep.
In my on my portal, I only have, I'm just trying to bring it up. For videos, I have 3 webinar and 4 videos.
Yeah. So this is the 4th webinar, Monica.
Okay.
So, this video will be uploaded after this session.
Okay. And the 4 pre-scene analysis video, which ones you're talking about?
So I highlighted these things previously. So the 4 pre-scene analysis videos: the introduction, industry analysis, company operations, and financial analysis.
And the 4 webinar is these 3 plus this one. Okay, cool.
Got it? Yeah.
Yes, got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So another student is asking, mocks with feedback, would you suggest following the same timeline? Yes, definitely, because now for instance, you are getting, if you had bought the value pack, you are getting feedback for mocks 3, 4, and 5. So if you stick to the same time plan, that's totally fine. Although I've said that we usually take 48 hours to provide feedback. Since it's closer to the exam, I'll make sure that you get feedback within 24 hours. So let's assume you do mock 3 on the 6th of May. Sorry, let's assume that you attempt mock 3 on the 5th of May. You are supposed to come up with the study plan, sorry, the answer plan for mock 3 on the 6th of May. So by the 6th of May, you will get your feedback as well. So once you have the answer plan, the short note of the entire answer, then it's easier for you to compare my feedback with your answer plan. Then you can easily figure out where you had missed out on, and based on that, improve your answers at the real exam. I hope I addressed your concern. Okay, all right, superb. If you have any other questions, you can jot it down on the chat section. I'm going to move forward. Right, so I'm moving on to the second part of today's webinar. It's about developing confidence. So you need to develop confidence before the exam as well as during the exam. So what are you supposed to do before the exam? Stick to the study plan. So I've provided a study plan, so it's better if you can stick to it. So if you stick to the study plan, you just need 3 hours of study time per day. So I'm just talking about weekdays. Weekends, I've allocated 6 hours of study time, but weekdays, you just need 3 hours of time. So that's, achievable, because there's only 2 weeks to your exam. So, allocating 3 hours is actually mandatory. Okay. Especially because you need to attempt mock exams. Okay. If you are already attempted mock exams, then you need not allocate this amount of time. However, you just need 3 hours of study time per day and 6 hours of study time during weekends, and you need to prepare only for 2 weeks. So this would be a grueling experience, because you need to balance work with studies. But still, please don't see it in a negative manner, because don't have a negative attitude towards the preparation, because you have to prepare only for the coming 2 weeks. After that, you can say goodbye to OCS. Okay. And stick to a routine. So in the coming 2 weeks, it's extremely important that you stick to a routine. You need to wake up and sleep at the same time. If you wake up at 7 a.m., you need to wake up at 7 a.m. every day. If you plan to sleep at 11 o'clock, you need to sleep at 11 every day until you do the exam. And on top of that, you need to stick to a routine with regards to daily meal intake as well, because you need to have the breakfast at a stipulated time, the lunch as well as dinner at stipulated time periods. Why? Because if you get your eating habits right, then you can wake up without any issue, and you would fall asleep without any issue as well. Okay. So at least for the coming 2 weeks, try to stick to a routine that is going to be extremely beneficial for you at the real exam. Okay, and within the next coming 2 weeks, you, as I told you earlier, you need to balance your work as well as studies. You need to allocate 3 hours of study time, so that's going to be hectic. So in order to manage this stress, you need to stick to this routine. Get your meals on time, 3 meals at stipulated time periods, and you need to wake up and sleep on time as well. Okay, and when practicing mocks, practice at the same time of day as the exam booking. So let's assume your exam is happening from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then when practicing mocks, if you can allocate time to practice from 9 to 12 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., then that's better, because you are getting yourselves accustomed to real exam conditions. However, if you are into full-time work, you might not find time to attempt mock exams from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. because you would be at office. If that is if that is the case, I would suggest you to do it in the night when you have time, or early morning, or whatever. You can stick to any type of study plan you like. Okay, so that's what you need to do before the exam. So let's try to figure out what you need to do to develop confidence on the exam day, before the exam. So on the day of the exam, before you attempt the exam, rest your mind and body. So that's exactly why I suggested that you stop your studies a day before the exam, so that you can relax, your body and mind can relax. For 2 weeks continuously, you would have been working. So because of that, you need this rest to gain good marks at the real exam. Do not refer to any study material, mocks or answer plans. So on the day of the exam, you are not supposed to look into any of the material. Just leave everything aside, because you need to go to the exam with an open mind. Think that you are the finance officer at meals at home. Okay, so let's assume the exam is tomorrow. So when you wake up tomorrow in the morning, you need to think that you are the finance officer of meals at home. As the finance officer, you are always assisting with decision making. You are always assisting or fulfilling needs of your finance manager or any other manager for that matter. So that's the type of attitude you need to have in your mind on the day of the exam. And let go of any negativity, because personally, if I talk about myself, until I started doing studies pertaining to the management level, I was extremely afraid of exams. So on the day of the exam, when I woke up, I always felt feverish. And if I'm being really honest with you guys, I used to throw up before going to the examination hall, because that's the type of stress I had. I was always thinking about the missed targets. I was always thinking about what I should have done, and what I didn't achieve. I was discussing with my colleagues or my friends about what they had done, and when they highlight a certain area, I panic because I have not gone through that area. You need to leave out all these things, because if you stick to the study plan which I provided, if you stick to our content, it's extremely easy for you to pass. So don't try to do too much, because if you try to do too much, you would feel negative. And when you feel negative, it reflects in your paper as well. It reflects in the because there's absolutely no point of being negative. You have put in all the effort, and having put in all the effort, if you stick to the study plan, then you know everything you need to pass the OCS exam. So there's absolutely no point of panicking without any reason at the exam. And before the exam, be open-minded, as I highlighted earlier, because the examiner tries to replicate a real-life corporate environment. So when you go to office, you won't know what type of emails you'd get, what type of solutions you'd have to provide, what type of decision making you would be involved with. So be open-minded. Don't think about scenarios which appeared in the pre-scene, or what type of scenarios can, don't try to predict the type of scenarios which will appear in your exam. Just be open-minded. And during the exam, what are you supposed to do? Stick to the exam technique routine. So I highlighted this in webinar number 3. If you had missed it, it's extremely important that you go through that, because in that I've taught you guys how to come up with answer plans. Okay. And on top of that, I've taught you guys how to manage your time, as well as how to score marks. Okay. So please go through that webinar if you have not done that. So in that webinar, I highlighted that out of the 45 minutes per task, 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes should be allocated for reading and answer planning, and the remaining 25 minutes can be spent on typing answers. So I've elaborated these things, these techniques in depth in webinar number 3. So I suggest you watch that. Okay. So when attempting these attempting the 5 mock exams, you need to stick to the same methodology as highlighted in webinar number 3, and at the real exam you are supposed to stick to the same methodology. So stick to the exam technique routine. Don't try new things, because you had already, by the time you go to the exam, you had practiced this, because there's 4 tasks per paper. So 4 into 5 is, you should have developed 20 answer plans, and you should have typed 20 answers. Okay. So stick to the same routine, because if you do, then you'd figure out that you have enough time on your hands. Most of the time students fail because they do not know how to manage their time. So this is the best practice which you need to adhere to. You need to spend 20 minutes of your time to read and plan the answer, then allocate the remaining 25 minutes to type your answers. Okay. So that's what you need to do. You need to do it during the exam. And if you feel stressed during the exam, drink some water, because it helps you, it revitalizes your body, and that is gonna affect your brain functions in a positive manner as well. And you can also close your eyes and breathe slowly for about 2 minutes, because get your breathing, if you had panicked, your heart will be pumping a lot of blood into your brain, and in such a context you can't think properly. And if you panic too much, your system will be pumping adrenaline into your brain as well. That's not going to help you. You are going to panic further, and you end up taking all the wrong decisions. So if you feel that you are stressed too much, or if you feel that you can't think of an answer, just close your eyes, focus on your breathing, do it slowly for about 2 minutes. That's going to work wonders for you. Take it from me, I've done it personally as a student, and it can help me immensely at the exam. So whenever I feel a brain freeze, I do this, then all of a sudden thoughts come flooding into my head. Okay, I've done it. I can remember doing that when I was doing my top CIMA exam. That's not there anymore, but those days it was there when I was doing exams. So I did that in top CIMA, in my top CIMA exam, as well as in all the strategic level papers. Okay, so you are supposed to do this if you panic, and remind yourself that you have done your homework. So I've highlighted a study plan. So if you stick to the study plan, you had done everything you need. So at the when doing the exam, if you panic or if you feel too stressed, remind yourself that you have done your homework. Okay, you have prepared yourself fully, and remind yourself that you need just 80 marks to pass. Okay, in your paper there could be certain subtasks which you are clueless about. Okay, don't worry, you can skip it and move forward. If you can't think anything, if you can't come up with any type of an answer, you can just skip it and move forward. Because the thing is, if you think too much about a missed subtask, it is going to affect the outcome of your entire paper. Usually in your first task, you'd have, so in one single task, you'd have 2 or 3 subtasks. So out of the 2 or 3 subtasks of the first main task, you'd have one single subtask which drives you crazy. So don't be too concerned about it. Don't think too much about it. If you can't provide an answer, then just move on to the next task and try to do it properly. Because the examiner puts in an extremely hard subtask in task number 1 or 2 to put you off, so that negativity builds in and you end up screwing up your answers, not just in the first 2 tasks but in the remaining tasks as well. So if you screwed up a certain subtask, don't think about it too much, because what's done is done. You can't take back that time. Okay, move forward, maintain your confidence, because if you are positive, you would gain 3 or 4 additional marks. That's what you need to pass the exam. Okay, examiner has highlighted this. Examiner wants you to be positive, and I myself as a tutor has experienced this, and as a CIMA student I've experienced this as well. Okay, so remind yourself about these things, and always give your best shot. Think in a practical manner. Think that you are the finance officer, and as a finance officer, when you are reporting to your finance manager, you won't try to bullshit around. You try to give your best answer. So give your best shot and always be open-minded during the exam. Okay, because you might feel that a certain answer which you are providing is wrong, but when you get results, you would be amazed to see that your answer was correct. Okay, so don't ever doubt yourself during the exam. You can doubt yourself if you had not done your preparation properly. If you had not put in effort to study, then doubting yourself is totally fine. But if you stick to the study plan, you had done everything you need to do, you had done your homework, so there's absolutely no point of just worrying about the outcome of the exam unnecessarily. Just focus on the focus during the 3 hours, maintain your positivity. You would be amazed about the outcome of the exam. Although you think, you might feel right after the exam, you might feel that I might have failed it, you would definitely get a pass mark if you maintain your confidence for these 3 hours. Okay, so that's of utmost importance. Please do that. And because of the COVID-19 pandemic, CIMA has given you the opportunity to attempt the exam at home rather than going to an examination center. So if you are going attempting the exam at home, I urge you to refer to the CIMA examination information page. So I've included the link here. I'll be sharing this document with you. So go to this link and read the content thoroughly before the exam, and try out the CIMA exam platform by following the guidelines mentioned. So before the exam, you can familiarize yourself with the exam platform. So try to do that. So I would suggest you to do this 2 or 3 days before the exam rather than waiting until the last day. Okay. Right. So having said that, let me talk about what we offer. So we offer 2 main packages, the essential pack and the value pack. In the essential pack, you would have access to full pre-scene analysis videos, 4 videos, the annotated pre-scene. So this is what an annotated pre-scene looks like. So that's the same pre-scene you would get your hands on, but you can see at the onto your right, I've given you annotations highlighting the main points, or highlighting any syllabus content, highlighting any scenarios which can be tested, which makes your life easier, because just remembering these points which I've made would ensure that you have a good understanding about the pre-scene. Okay, so so that's the annotated pre-scene. Then you would have access to industry analysis slides. The most important product is the 5 exam standard mock exams and suggested answers. Then you would have access to financial analysis slides, top 10 likely issues, the OCS familiarization kit, and on top of that, you can have access to the OCS WhatsApp discussion forum, where like-minded students or colleagues can share knowledge with each other, and I'm part and parcel of the WhatsApp group as an admin. So if you have any questions, you can raise it on the WhatsApp group, and I'm happy to provide you with solutions. And The essential pack comes with a pass guarantee. If by any chance you fail after using our material, you would have access to the material free of charge in the subsequent sitting. So the investment is going to be £99. And if I take you through the value pack, you would have access to everything which I highlighted under the essential pack. On top of that, you would have access to an online mock exam platform. So you can get yourselves accustomed to real exam conditions, because you can attempt all 5 mocks in the mock exam platform itself. Okay. And once you complete the mocks, for mocks 3, 4, and 5, I've been providing personalized feedback. Okay, so this is the type of feedback you'd get. So as you can see, for each and every paragraph, I've provided feedback, and this feedback covers the quality of your answer, the formatting, and on top of that, whether I've highlighted whether you need to improve certain areas and whatnot. So having done all these things, having provided all this feedback, at the very end, I provide a mark breakdown as well. And based on that, I will be stipulating whether you had passed it or not. And at the very end, I'll be providing general comments as well, so that you can further improve your answers. So that's the type of feedback which we are providing. And you have access to theory recaps pertaining to E1, F1, and P1 related study content. So if you are really comfortable with self-study, I would suggest that you go for the essential pack, because you can work on your own. You can mark your papers on your own. If you had aced your OTQ examinations, again, I'd ask you to go for the essential pack. However, if you had struggled with the OTQ exams, if you are coming through the through one of the if you're coming through the exemption route, such as the FLP route, or if you had failed the exam previously, then I would suggest you to go for the value pack, and the investment is £199. Okay, so having said that, it brings us to the end of today's webinar. Before we end the webinar, if you have any questions, you can raise them. It need not be anything to do with a study plan. You can raise any question pertaining to the OCS examination. Any areas which you need to brush up on, any type of knowledge which you need to brush up. All right, guys, seems like there aren't, okay, some, it was, okay, welcome, Monica, extremely happy that the session helped you immensely. Right, so if you still have any questions, you can, type it on the chat section. And in the meantime, I'll talk about how you can contact us. You can contact us via our website. You can drop us an email, or simply get in touch with us via WhatsApp. And I invite you to follow us on our social media handles, especially check out the videos on YouTube, because these recorded sessions, the recorded webinars are uploaded on our YouTube channel. So you can check out these videos there, and check out our blog posts as well. Because in these blog posts, I've highlighted everything you need to know about the exam. So let me take you to the blog posts. Yeah, so I've highlighted the examiner's comments. I've highlighted what you need to do after the pre-scene is out, how to build a winning attitude, answer planning technique, what you need to do when developing answer plans, the common issues faced by CIMA students and the solutions for each of the issues. And if you had failed in your previous attempts, I've highlighted where you would have gone wrong and what you need to do to pass this time. And I've highlighted the common misconceptions about the case study examinations and how to overcome these misconceptions. And at the very end, I've highlighted the exam dates and the exam fees as well. So I invite you to go through our blog posts, and you can access our free content via the OCS page. So you can pick your preferred solution. You can invest on the essential pack or a value pack, and there's a FAQ section. So please go through the FAQ section, because I've included all the sample material under each question, so you can access samples and see what we are offering before you purchase our products. Okay, so that's what I wanted to highlight. So please go through the blog posts to understand what the technicalities are pertaining to the operational case study examination. So before concluding today's session, thank you very much for being part and parcel of today's webinar, and I thoroughly enjoyed the session, especially because you guys asked so many questions, and I'm happy that I was able to help you guys out. And if you have any questions leading up to the examination, get in touch with us on WhatsApp. We have our own OCS WhatsApp group. Don't feel shy, ask any question on the group, because you have only 2 weeks. It's high time you start working hard. Okay, if as I highlighted, if you can put in 3 hours continuously in the coming 2 weeks, you can easily pass the examination, because we had conducted webinars, and in these webinars we have highlighted all the technical nitty-gritties which you need to know to pass the exam. Coupled with that, if you go through all our videos, our additional material, and if you attempt the 5 exam standard mock exams, in the 5 mock exams I've covered all syllabus content which can be tested at your real exam. So if you attempt the mock exams and if you stick to the study plan which I stipulated today, you can easily pass the examination. And I insist that you maintain, if you stick to the study plan, maintain your confidence before the exam and during the exam, then you would undoubtedly pass the examination. That's exactly why our pass rate is 83% when CIMA's pass rate is 53%. Okay, so stick to the plan, and if you need any help, please get in touch with us, and all the very best for the upcoming examination. I'm pretty sure that you would pass it this time. So all the best. Thank you very much, and good night.